Guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Off-Day Pod. I am joined by my fellow guest, Kevin Barral. There's his on his Twitter. He is a member of the Fish Stripes team and the host of the KO Sports Corner. I kind of messed up on that one last time, but this time I got it in check. Kevin, how are you doing this fine evening?
Very good. Very excited about that Marlins win. We're recording this on May 11th at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. So yeah, I'm very excited, and thank you for having me on again. So yeah.
You know me. I love the way you make those takes. You are an amazing reporter. Respectfully, you're brand new to the game as well, so getting those reps at a very young age, you guys just got to give some love over to Kevin. We got quite a lot to talk about. The Marlins finally win a game. The Marlins, they had lost 10 games by 1 run so far this year, and it's only May 11th. It's crazy that the Marlins are in a situation where they just can't seem to get it together with these 1-run losses. I don't know if sometimes it's the pitching, sometimes it's the hitting. What do you think is mainly the issue?
There's so many issues with this team, but it's a little bit of everything, and it depends the game, to be honest with you. Sometimes it's the starting pitching, sometimes it's the offense not able to get it going, sometimes it's the closer situation in which we've seen twice already. Bender already once, Solskjaer in the other game with the Alfaro walk-off. So it's a little bit of everything, but lately, sometimes it's just unluckiness. The team can't get it going at the end. This team has proven a lot throughout these 1-run losses. This is good at a moment, because this team is showing they could get it going. They could get it going on offense. They could stay in games. They make the games watchable. We stayed up all night to watch the Padres series. We stayed up all night to watch the Diamondbacks, besides last night where they got absolutely crushed. But besides that, this is a team that's definitely in the play there, and they'll get it going. And luckily, they got this amazing win tonight. So I'm happy for the team, man. This Arizona game, the third one, is probably one of the most perfect games the Marlins have played this whole season. The pitching got it done. The bullpen got it done. The offense got it done. Everything got it done. And that Alfaro walk-off game also, that was another amazing game. So, yeah.
I like how you wrapped it up on the Alfaro home run, because I wanted to kind of hint that one out. The Marlins had that game in the books. They were just 1 out away from winning it, and that goes to show that baseball is a game of inches. Alfaro he was lobbed one right down the middle by Cole Solskjaer, and he took advantage of it. And that's kind of how it works. Alfaro took that one, I believe it was like 430 feet into center field. Marlins did end up losing that game.
430, yeah.
Yeah, man, and it's crazy because Alfaro is one of the highest players in the MLB with the whiff rate, on the outside part of the zone. We saw it today, May 11th. Alfaro swinging at baseballs that could have plunked him, and that was a tough one to swallow. Former Marlin crushing his old team, that's just something you just don't want. But into our favor, or at least in our side, today, Jacob Stallings. Actually, this series, Jacob Stallings, he has been really good. Really, really good. I like the way he's been hitting the ball, getting things together, watching the ball. I think he's been one heck of an addition, and many people have kind of trashed on the guy because he had a bit of a slow start. But the fact that Jacob Stallings, I think he knows that his hit tool isn't there, but he's taking advantage of it, and he's getting himself on base, and he's trying to help the team as much as possible. And another thing to note is that I like that you said that this team isn't bad, and I agree with you 100%. This team is not bad. This team is just, if anything, unlucky. They're just missing a couple holes. There's a couple of guys that are gone. Obviously, you got Birdie and Anderson down with the IL. Byers also down with the IL. That's to call Tommy Nance. So it's been an interesting course of actions that the Marlins have taken into replacing those guys. Eric Gonzalez had an RBI earlier today. He's been okay. Preferably, I would have wanted Charles LeBlanc, but other than that, these 1-run losses could our way instead. We don't want to be the team that has to be winning by 1-run games, but at the end of the day, if you're winning games, you're winning games. It doesn't matter what the deficit is. So, yeah, you put it, you freaking nailed it right there with the with your take there on the Marlins' current state of the team. But there's a couple guys in the major leagues who are currently struggling, unfortunately. Avisayo Garcia, Jorge Soler. Do you have anything on them that you could kind of see some sort of upgrade within their uh within their play?
So with Soler, I think it was always a matter of we know this guy's going to get better. He's hitting the ball. He's hitting it well. He's taking it to the warning track. He's doing what he has to do. Avisail just wasn't hitting the ball. This is probably the best game he's had. This Arizona game was by far his best game of the season so far. 2 walks, 2 hits. One of them was a homer. I think he had an RBI. So Avi was good. He was very good. And the other issue with Avi that I'm seeing is he's very much struggling against lefties. So against lefties, he's hitting 154, 269, 423, 1 home run, 4 hits, 1 RBI. Towards righties, he's hitting 221, 268, 299, 567, 6 RBIs, 1 homer, 17 hits, and that is in 82 plate appearances. So Avi's been good against righties. I'm sorry. Soler, man, that guy's starting to heat up. He had the grand slam in San Diego. He hit the home run yesterday. He got a hit today. The offense is starting to click. And when we knew with these big-time vets that they brought in, or big-time vets in Soler and Avi, this team would get it going. And they definitely have. And if this is the offense we could get, this Arizona offense, the offense we got today, if they could get that on Friday against the Brewers, which we'll be talking about that soon, and just throughout the rest of the season, this team is going to be very scary, and they probably won't be losing by 1 run. I'll be telling you that. It'll be 11-3 game.
Oh yeah, no, I think the best thing about today, and in coincidence to us filming this pod, is that the Marlins didn't just win today, but they did it in such a style that I as a fan, I haven't seen in probably ever. The Marlins rallied back, being tied. It started off with a Jacob Stallings RBI knock, and it just began a merry-go-round. The Marlins just kept hitting and hitting and hitting. And the funny part, there was 2 outs. The Marlins scored 8 runs in the 9th inning with 2 outs. They attacked Melanson. They went up against Wendelken on the Diamondbacks. I mean, what a game to wrap it up for the Marlins in that series. And they were beat up by that team. The Diamondbacks came in and they literally straight up told them, "Hey, we're here to compete." And the Marlins thought they were going to probably cruise away with wins. And that goes to show you baseball could change. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Wins are not guaranteed. And, despite all these 1-run losses, the Marlins played hard. They played very, very hard these whole series against the Diamondbacks. And I'm talking about home and away. They were trying to win. Unfortunately, they just weren't getting things their way, and they finally delivered in this one. The final game of the season series between the Diamondbacks and the Marlins. 11-3 was the final for that one. That was just insane. I'm going to show you guys the video of the Jazz Chisholm home run, followed by the Avisayo Garcia home run.
Would love to add on another run right here. And they might. Jazz out toward left center, and it's gone! A 3-run home run for Jazz on a line drive to left center field.
Boom on the top of the head, and they bury him.
Yep. That's a fly ball, and it's deep to center field. And that's gone. 3-run homer for Avi Garcia. Marlins are on fire in this 9th inning.
Now that you guys saw the home runs, the Marlins have been going through a bit of pitching issues. It's not necessarily all too bad, but it's bad to a scale where we need to kind of talk over it. The Marlins are often noted to be one of the teams with the best pitching in the league, and I agree. The Marlins have very good pitching and very good talent behind them, very good farm system as well to add on to the whole stash. Sandy Alcantara was very, very nice today. Paulo Lopez is just absolutely surprising me by storm. And by surprising me, it's not that, I knew he was going to be pretty good, but he's better than just good. He's kicking everybody's butt, literally. Um, Jesus Luzardo had a very bad, not a very bad, but he had like an off
It was
start, I
okay.
would say. Yeah, he was okay in that Diamondbacks game last night. Um, the one that we really need to talk about, maybe Trevor Rogers a bit, because he's been starting to show a bit of ticks onto the positive side.
Yep.
But I'm sure I'm gonna leave this one to you, Kevin. Eliezer Hernandez, what do you got?
Let's get right into it. I mean, two-pitch guy. He's just been getting dominated this season. There's no other way to say it. 2 nights ago, or 3 now, when you look back on this on Thursday morning, if that's when it comes up, but he's not been good. It's that simple. And now my camera's frozen. He's not been good, and that's been the big issue for Eliezer this season. And he's a guy who can't even get through the first or second inning of a game. And the stats show, I'll pull up the stats right here, and it's just really bad. In the first inning, he has a 9.0 ERA, which is horrendous in the MLB. He's given up 6 hits. He's given up 2 home runs, and all the runs are earned runs. So in the second inning, he's a little bit better, not too much, not by much. He has a 6.0 ERA. He has 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned runs, 1 home run. Just that's not starting pitcher type numbers. Then he cools down in the third inning. He's at a 1.50 ERA. And he's still getting decently mashed out there. 7 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run. But then it just goes all to hell in the fourth inning. The guy has a 10.50 ERA, which is horrendous in the major leagues. That's Caleb Smith had, a 9-point-something ERA. He has a worse ERA than Caleb Smith in the fourth inning of a game. And usually he can't even reach the 6th, because when he did on that third game, in the first game of this series, he had a 6.50 ERA. And, he gave up that home run. I think that was to Alec Varsho, to Dalton Varsho, I'm pretty sure. But, Eliezer's just not a starting pitcher. We all know who's in the minor leagues. We don't have to say it. Everyone knows by now. But Eliezer should not be a major league starting pitcher. I wouldn't mind him in the bullpen. I've said this. I think that's where he should have begun at the start of the season, and I'll go by that. Eddie Cabrera is still down there. I'm back. Eddie Cabrera is down there. He should be up soon. There's no timetable set, but he's making progress in AAA. So it's been tough with Eliezer, man. And when you look at the 2022 MLB percentile rankings, they're all in blue. Almost all of it is in blue. Only a couple red spots, but when you look at Baseball Savant, blue is really bad, red is really good, and almost everything is in blue. So that's
For those of you who are watching, I'm going to put up his peripherals on the screen. As Kevin said, blue is bad, red is good. And clearly, by what we could see, Eliezer just isn't good. But hey, I'm going to let you go there, Kevin.
And the final thing I wanted to talk about is his differences between the lefty and the righties. He's pitched more against lefties, but he's given up 21 hits against lefties. He's given up 6 homers against lefties, 18 strikeouts, which is more than he's given up to righties. He's only struck out 10 righties, but given up 12 hits in 10 innings pitched. So, Eliezer, yes, in the bullpen, I think he would be a very lethal weapon, since he could go through a lineup once, technically. The stats haven't shown it this season, but you look at it, I think he could face 3 batters at least and get all 3 out. I think that shouldn't be an issue at all. But, and I was saying this on Fish Stripes Live, Isaac said this at some point, why not make Eliezer the closer? And I know you may be against this. I know Alex Carver's against this, but let's make Eliezer the closer. Give him a chance. Cole Sulcer kind of did it. Bender, we know he could do it if he works on it. Dylan Floro, we may be able to see. Bass, I would like to see. Okert, I would like to see as well. Those guys. We'll see what happens. But, man, Eliezer in the bullpen would be very nasty. I would say that would definitely make the bullpen a lot better, especially if you're facing less than 10 batters in one inning, unless just things go to hell for Eliezer in a relief appearance.
No, I like how you said, the fact that Eliezer can't attack a lineup from the top part of the order a second time. And that's one of his biggest issues with the Marlins every time he starts. He just can't come back and do the same thing as he did in the first stretch of the lineup. It's frustrating, right? You kind of want the guy to succeed, but he just hasn't been clicking when it comes to the second top part of the order when the 1, 2, 3 guys start hitting again a second time. And I kind of like what you said with the closer thing. He could be pretty shut down with the first three batters, right? But I don't know. I see him more of a bullpen type person rather than giving him the spotlight at closer. Um, but hey, if the Marlins are going to do this merry-go-round system where they're going to be throwing guys into the closer role every once in a while and see how they succeed, listen, I'm all for it. If Eliezer, they want to see what he does in the closer role and he excels, you want the best for your team and you want to win games. If Eliezer is your answer, you do it. Bender clearly wasn't yet, at least from what we've seen. His stuff hasn't really been there.
He was very good in the sixth inning, I'll say. He did well in his last start, which was the sixth inning. Shut it down. That was the San Diego game, funny enough. That was probably some of the best bullpen appearances we've seen, besides from Solskjaer giving up that bomb to Alfaro. But yeah, that overall good appearance from him there.
And that's the thing with many guys on the bullpen, respectfully, right? They're a solid group. I think they're a solid group. They're a solid group of guys.
They're top 5 in ERA. They're top 5 in ERA from the last time I checked.
It's crazy. I'll even pull it up for you guys on the those of you viewing. Like, this is a pretty solid group of bullpen pitchers, but they're just missing that established shutdown type closer that they need. If they want to win these games by 3 runs or less, they gotta capitalize and get those 3 outs in the ninth. And that's kind of been some of the games that have costed them. It's been by a run. And even when they win the games, it's a heart attack, right? You got guys who they could get the first 2, but the third one becomes an issue. Or the other way around, they get 1 and then the second out becomes the issue, and then they have to get 2 more and there's 2 guys on base. Yeah, we don't need these type of heart attacks. Every once in a while, if you have a shutdown closer, you're gonna have bad games, of course. But guys, it's May 11th. It's still early. There's time to fix this, right? Like I personally believe the Marlins could execute it, but we just haven't seen it yet. But
and you know that I really like you know how I am with trades. I love making trades with the Marlins, especially they have enough talent to make that any trade. But right now, I wish I could name you five closers. And the first one I know he got destroyed today by the Marlins. Mark Melancon. Mark Melancon in Lone Depot Park is lethal. I'll say it like that. Pitcher friendly ballpark. That guy throws absolute heat. I know he's been very bad this year. He has not been good. I think he's 0-4, and he's just has an ERA over the roof. But Mark Melancon's a good closer. Last season in San Diego, he was the best closer in all of baseball. Just for reference, he played very well for San Diego, and I think he signed with San Diego very late into the season because he was with Atlanta. I think he got DFA'd, and then he goes to San Diego, something like that. But yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to mention back with Eliezer is Max Meyer. We need to talk about Max Meyer. The guy this season's 2-0 with a 1.72 ERA, 6 games, all started, 31.1 innings pitched, 39 strikeouts, and 0.86 whip. This guy has dominated both lefties and righties, keeping the whip low, hasn't given up a home run this season. He's only walked 9 batters. He's struck out 25 lefties against 24 righties, which he's struck out. Obviously, he's pitched against lefties a lot more. And he's getting better and better. The change-ups and the pitches aren't coming up right now, but he's a 3-pitch guy. That change-up is getting a lot better. That's the only thing that's kept him down. But at this point, this guy should have been up yesterday. That's how much I would go up to say Max Meyer should be a major leaguer. And I know there's service time manipulation and all of that, but he needs to be up in the major leagues. That's the final line. There's also Edward Cabrera. Brian Hoeing at some point we may see. Hoeing I see more as a bullpen option. And, if I can name you 2 options right now to be a Marlins bullpen piece, and we said these so many times. We said these today on the Spaces. We said them on live streams before on Fish Stripes Live. Colton Hawk of AA Pensacola. The stats probably are on the screen. Tommy Evil, the other guy who was in the Marlins taxi squad at the beginning of the season, first game. So that's another one. Stats will also be on the screen, I assume. So a lot there that the Marlins definitely need to consider to look at. And for really, the only name that comes up to mind right now is Mark Melancon. Maybe you look into Boston. You maybe snag their closer. I think it's Matt Barnes. I don't know how he's
Mike
been
Barnes,
this season.
right? Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I don't know how he's been this season, but if Miami can snag a closure like that, Boston looks to be trending down. So definitely a team to look at.
You nailed it again. Once
Daniel
again.
Bogarts is on that team, by the way.
Hey, yeah. Keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. But no, you said it, Kevin. I mean, Max Meyer. What does he have to prove in AAA anymore? The guy just comes out there and shoves. I actually did not know he hasn't allowed a home run yet. That's
No,
amazing.
he has
Like
not. No, he has not.
that's incredible. And sure, you could argue, hey, AAA hitting isn't as insane as AA
AAA
hitting or
hitting,
whatever.
the way you could describe AAA hitting, and Carver would be a lot better at saying this than me, but
Oh yeah.
it's journeyman major leaguers, guys who are in AA that dominated and move up to AAA. So their hitting is pretty good. I would say the most difficult minor league level to play in is AA. You have incredible pitching, just to describe Yuri Perez is in AA. George Soriano is done AA.
Cabley's still there, isn't he?
McCambly's still there. I think Asa Lacy may be in AA right now, or he's in high A. It's one of the two. But
It's one of the two, yeah.
that's something to keep in mind. AA pitching is very, very difficult. I don't know about the hitting, just to describe Gerard Encarnacion, who will probably be in AAA very soon, is in AA. Griffin Conine, who's been on an absolute tear this season, AA. So just some guys to think about how that hitting looks. JJ Bleday was down there. He struggled. The pitching is very good. He struggled at the beginning of the season, getting it going a little bit now. Hopefully he does, because he's an okay player. He'll definitely get it going at some point. You know how I feel about Bleday. We'll get into the minors later, but yeah, the hitting is not the easiest to face in AAA or AA. When you look at the differences, it's overall very stacked, I will say.
Yeah.
Max Meyer had to face Ronald Acuna, funny enough, this season in AAA in his rehab start, and he handled Acuna very well, except that double off the wall.
Which, by the way, that if you watch back on that
was
video,
very close to being a home run. He was about to take him yard there.
He was about to take him yard, but hey, you take anything your way. But yeah, I agree with you. Max Meyer, man, he has to go up, and definitely, as you said earlier on your previous point, there's service time manipulation, right? Like that's I think that's what's taking him down a bit.
Definitely, I'll say this. That's definitely not the biggest excuse right now, because they definitely got rid of a lot of that. I think not the deadline. I think there's a deadline in June. I'm not sure what the name is right now. I'll look it up, but it's like the too late deadline. I think that's what it's called. I'll look it up, but I'll let you go on.
Yeah, I agree with you. If they could cut off the slack on the guys who haven't produced for the team, you got to call up Meyer. If they're serious about winning games and giving these young guns a shot, hey, you got to call up Meyer. That's just the right call. Eliezer isn't winning us games, period. And sure, there's been games where Eliezer starts and we win, but that's because of the hitting, right? Eliezer isn't going to carry this team back. If anything, I will be honest, the only start in which I saw Eliezer this year actually, kind of do pretty good was against the Braves. Other than that, I don't see a reason for this guy to still be in this rotation. We've reiterated it so many times on Twitter. Everybody has been literally buzzing about it. There's just it makes no sense to keep starting this guy. He's got one of the worst, starter ERAs in the big leagues right now. That speaks for, had that not been, pretty prevalent within the team, then the Marlins would be having to deal with an ERA kind of, issue. The Marlins would have been higher maybe in the standings. Not that it's that important, but that's just to show you the factors that, Eliezer brings to the bullpen, kind of takes the team ERA down. But, yeah, I agree with you. Max Meyer needs to be up. And we were talking about the possibility of him coming up for the Brewers series, but that's just not looking like it might happen. What were you going to say?
Yeah, so quickly, the deadline's called the Super 2 deadline. I think that's in June, July. So it's pretty much the minor league deadline when you can bring a guy up and he'll get a year of service time, I think is what it's called. So quickly, with that Brewers series, that's the series everyone's been eyeing for at least a week now. Max Meyer looked like he could have gone Sunday. His scheduled start was today. Today in terms of today's when the pod drops, Thursday today. He's still scheduled to make that start yesterday, Wednesday, today's the day we're recording, he's still scheduled to make that start. So it all indicates he will not be making his debut in Milwaukee. Not in Milwaukee, in Miami against Milwaukee. Maybe against Washington, maybe we see him. Or his next scheduled start would be in a week then, or he's on a 6-day rest. He's on 6 days, so it would be Wednesday, which Wednesday is against Washington. So maybe we see him for that game. That is a 6:40 game. Maybe we see him against Atlanta. But the player that, I don't know if you saw this today, Craig Mish reported it, BA is expected to be back for Milwaukee. So that's big time news. Miami will finally get BA back. I expect Eric Gonzalez to be sent down. So with the COVID IL he's not on the 40-man since it's COVID. It's undisclosed, but we all know it's COVID. He just gets sent right back down. No DFA, no issue. So Miami's getting BA back for this Milwaukee series. No Max Myers. So all eyes on Eliezer once again. I just don't know what it would take the Marlins at this point, really, to say this guy's no longer this guy's a liability at this point, you know? Miami just couldn't support him with runs. Or did they lose that game by 1 run? That first game?
Which one?
The Eliezer start in Arizona. That was a 1-run loss, I'm pretty sure.
That was a 1-run loss. Yes.
Yeah. The usual one run loss. So yeah, at this point, like what does it take Miami to bring a guy like Max Meyer, who's putting up better stats than even Trevor Rogers, by the way? This guy just, and it's only been 6 starts. Trevor Rogers is, I think, he's not 2-4. He would have been 2-4 if they won that San Diego game. He's 1-5, I believe, or 1-4. He's 1-4, so took the loss on Sunday. So, man, Eliezer needs to be in that bullpen, and I know what you mean with the ERA going up and all that, but I don't think it could be that hard for Eliezer Hernandez to face 3 batters and get all 3 of them out. Right. However it is, if it's a ground ball, if it's a fly ball, strikeout, however you want it to be, but Eliezer in the bullpen would be nice because the only other option would be you trade him, but his value is at an all-time low right now. No team's going to want him. At most, you'll get a double-A prospect, maybe even a triple-A prospect who isn't that good. I know we were talking about outfield options, and we'll probably get into that with the minor leagues, but, I just don't know. You would have to package him with a first baseman, wink, wink, and that'll get some value. So we'll see because Lewin's still down there. Max Meyer needs to get up at some point. Edward will get up at some point. Jake Eater is still a minor leaguer. Once he comes back from Tommy John surgery, he'll be probably going down to – he'll be making his rehab starts at single A, and then he'll go up to double A, which is where he originally was, but was dominating. So he'll be there for a short period, and I assume then triple A and then 2024 would be the best time for his debut. But Eliezer really does – move a lot of pieces. And I don't know if you heard swings and misses, and I'll go to Pablo here quickly. Pablo's betting on himself. That's what it looks like. No, he was offered the extension that never went through. That was not true. According to Craig Mish, it was a horrible extension if it was even offered. He wouldn't have taken that. So Pablo's a free agent. And I know and I'm not on the trade Pablo right now, but next season, if Jake Eater, Edward. Sixto is very close to coming back. I think he'll be a bullpen piece, but Sixto is very good. So trade Pablo maybe next season. I don't know. You need to get some value out of him. If a guy like Joe Musgrove is going to get $20 million a year, that's the type of money you're going to have to get from Pablo Lopez, unless he goes for that Sandy extension that he got, just a little bit less.
Wow, that was impressive. I mean, I actually didn't know that Pablo was actually a free agent next year. Well, next year you said, right?
No, I think he avoided arbitration. I'll look it up, but I'll let you go. Continue.
Yeah. I think many people are starting to realize that Pablo emerged himself as such a solid pitcher, man.
He's been one of the most consistent pitchers on the Marlins rotation since 2020 with that COVID year. Just want to remind you.
Yeah, I mean. And sure, you could argue maybe his health here and there, but wow, man, Pablo has really established himself as such a threat, not to all the other teams, all the other hitters. Yeah, I mean, wow.
Pablo, it's very simple to say this. Pablo would be an ace on a lot of other major league teams.
Oh, absolutely.
On Arizona, for example, the Diamondbacks, he would be the ace. I know Zach Gallen's there, but he would be the ace. Who else? The Padres, he would be a number 3 guy, maybe. No, he would be a number 2 guy.
Number 2, yeah.
Number 2. Who else? Washington, number 1. Atlanta, he would be number 1 or number 2. I really can't
The
name
Cubs,
the
number 1.
Cubs, number 1. He'd be the ace. You start naming teams, he'd be the number 1 guy, and very quickly. Pablo goes into ARB next year and the year after, so he'd be a free agent in 2025. So Miami has 2 years to get him locked up for an extension because, and just, Craig Mish said this on the Swings and Mishes podcast. Look at Joe Musgrove. That is the perfect example of what Pablo Lopez's value will be. He's the second or third guy in the rotation. He's the second guy in the rotation. Funny enough. The guy's putting up stats very similar to Pablo. Not as good as Pablo, but very similar. You look at the ERA, wins and losses, all of that good stuff. Very similar to Pablo. And you know what you could do? You could put up a comparison of both guys' stats, their MLB percentile. They must be very similar. Pablo's going to get that type of money, and Craig Mish said $20 million a year for a guy like Musgrove. Sandy's earning, I think, a little bit less, or just a tiny bit over that $20 million mark. Give Pablo that money, Miami. I would give him the money. He's one of the smartest human beings on that team. He goes super deep into answers. Very nice guy. I was lucky enough to interview him before his start against Arizona at home, which he got raped, but it's okay. Pablo Lopez needs to stay on the Marlins, man. I want him as a Marlin, but if it comes to the point where you have to trade him, but you're going to get a big-time piece back, let's say a lockdown reliever or a big-time outfielder, go do it.
Yeah.
Not this season, no. Definitely not this season.
Yeah. Pablo, there was a bit of trade discussion. Remember when the team started to bring a bunch of losses last year? There was this little discussion.
Yeah, the Yankees were the team looking at him.
Yeah, the Yankees were
in the offseason right before the lockout, Toronto. So, we would have gotten Alejandro Kirk or Gabriel Moreno, the top prospect, for the top catching prospect. So maybe Stallings wouldn't have been a Marlin. Just want to let you guys know.
Yeah. I always thought personally, in my personal take, and I've told this to Kevin a couple of times, we kind of went at it, but not really to that extent. But I always said that, me personally, I really think Pablo Lopez was the true hidden ace on this Marlins rotation. I don't know. I just saw more from him than I saw from Sandy. But the thing that I did note, and yes, I agree, Sandy is the ace of this rotation. Why? Because Sandy could stay healthy a full season. Pablo hasn't yet shown that.
That's been the issue with Pablo. If Pablo, let's say he stays healthy throughout most of the season, missing a couple starts, not too many. But if he stays healthy throughout the season and he puts up those kinds of numbers, he's getting $20 million in the free agent market in 2025.
Oh yeah,
maybe even more if he continues it up. So that's that. You just have to look at those numbers, man. And Pablo has not been healthy. The most healthy season he's had is 2020, the COVID season, where he put up some damn nice numbers. He was not the best. He was the best starter that season over Sandy, and Sandy missed a lot of time with COVID. Sandy was probably the second best guy because Miami after that. What was it? That rotation was interesting. It was Sandy, Pablo. Eliezer,
Trevor, and then Sixto.
No, it wasn't Sixto.
No, Sixto, and no.
It was Yamamoto, right?
Yamamoto. There you go.
Yamamoto. No, it wasn't Yamamoto.
And we also had Humberto Mejia start a couple games.
That's an interesting one to look at. What was that starting rotation like? I know it's not too different, but I don't know. I don't think it was Jordan Yamamoto. I think he was called up from the alternate training site that year.
You're right. Caleb Smith originally was supposed to be in that.
That was the rotation. Sandy, Smith, Pablo, Trevor, and Eliezer.
Yep, that's right. But something else I wanted to touch on real quick, Kevin, before we move on. Miami has shown, at least from an organizational standpoint, right? The team wants to show that they don't have the same stigma and reputation as the Jeffrey Loria era, right? Where they were just letting go of everybody and they were, making all these dumb deals or whatnot. I feel like, given what we saw from Sandy, right, and the Miguel Rojas thing, the fact of them wanting to keep their guys, right, is something the fans have pretty much longed for. That's why a lot of people loved when Giancarlo Stanton got that extension, loved when Christian Yelich got that extension. If the Marlins could lock down Pablo Lopez, one of their best performers, one of their guys that brings them wins, into an extension, the fans are going to be happy. right? The fans are gonna love when you extend your guys to long-term deals, because that's been the issue with Miami ever since the Jeffrey Loria regime. Even the Huizenga after '97, everybody was gone. Everybody was
Yeah,
out the door.
and I want to get into that later, but since the weekend, but we'll keep.
Yeah, but
It's gonna be a fun
yeah,
one.
the Marlins want to bring in that type of reputation where they could show the fans, hey, we're different. We're gonna keep our guys. These are the guys that bring us wins. I know you guys want wins. You guys have gone through a lot, and it's true. I think the organization knows this. Bruce Sherman is a Marlins fan, believe it or not. He knows that
He's
this
there.
team
He's
has
there at
gone
the
through a
games.
lot.
I can confirm he is there at the games.
Yeah, and they want to build a reputation which they could show, hey, we're gonna keep our guys. You got to lock down Pablo this offseason into an extension. If he finishes this year fully healthy, he's maybe gonna go down with an oblique.
He'll go down
Uh,
with something. Yeah.
yeah, but you got to lock him down. I personally think you got to lock him down. He's insane. He's incredible, amazing guy, as you said. You've interviewed him personally. I mean, you know more about him than I do. So from a fan standpoint, from a personal standpoint, as a media standpoint, even Kevin, this guy deserves to be a Marlin for a long time. And pitchers don't come at a free price.
And
So-
not and you mentioned Pablo, but you have to mention the guy slashing 295, 337, 611, 948 with 6 home runs, 24 RBIs, 28 hits, 6 stolen bases. I think you know who I'm talking about here. Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Absolutely.
You have his hair on right now. You have the
Yes,
hair
sir.
on right now. That's the next guy who should get the extension. Brian Hayes already got an extension. Wander Franco already got an extension. Let's put Jazz next on the line. And I was someone who said right when they extended Sandy, do it to Jazz, do it to Trevor.
Right.
Now I'm a little bit hesitant on Trevor, but the Jazz, come on, you have to do it. Give him the Ozzy Albies extension. He would take that. He's definitely gonna take that. Best contract in the MLB right now. Don't give him the Wander Franco one. Give him the Brian Hayes extension. He would do that type of extension, and you have to put this guy on paper. You have to keep him here because if not, down the line, this could look very bad for him. He's going to be playing better. Value's going to be going up. You're going to have to sign him to a massive extension, like that Wander Franco type extension.
And Jazz Chisholm, the beauty of Jazz is that he has that media exposure that a lot of players don't have. And he's taking advantage of it.
I'll tell you this. If there's one reason why the Marlins are getting media attention, it's Jazz Chisholm.
It's Jazz
and
Chisholm.
Pablo Lopez being the ERA leader.
Other than that, they would have gotten anything. Absolutely nothing. But Jazz Chisholm keeps this team relevant to its current extent, right? This is a guy who plays relatively close to home. Bahamas is a couple miles away, believe it or not. His family comes over to watch him play. Many people don't realize these types of little details are really important for players. Miami is, if you think about it, obviously we've had that, pretty crappy history, but Miami is a city which you would want players to come here. There's so many factors, so many benefits that players take. The quality of life, the proximity to many things to do within the city.
Taxes.
No state income tax. Those things are these are things and factors that players take into account. People think it's just the money. Yes, it is the money. Believe it or not. Yes, the money. People are going to chase the money. If you could make Jazz chase that bag, which he deserves it at this current time, so does Pablo, you're making him stay playing close to home for his people. His people come over to watch him. The Marlins have already hosted a Bahamian, Heritage Night. Hopefully they do another one this year. I think it was cool that they did that type of stuff. Keep the fans engaged. The Bahamas, as a country, is having kids playing ball. Why? Because they want to imitate Jazz. And guess what team Jazz is playing for? The Marlins. So when those kids are growing up watching baseball, what team are they going to be watching? They're going to be watching the Marlins. And that's going to grow the fan base. So this was actually, and the cool thing about this conversation is that this was not in the plans, right?
No, this was not in the plans at all.
This is not in the plans, but it served as such an interesting topic that now that I think about it, we need to do it, right? This is how you bring up that bad reputation you had 10 plus years ago and you take it to the next level. you try to bring up your fans back. We've seen games, Kevin. You've covered them. Fans are coming back to the stadium when they were winning games.
Funny enough, it's when I go, they're there.
It's the recipe. That's the recipe for the Marlins. You win, they will show. You keep your players, they will show. There is an actual existence of fans coming into the ballpark, right? But we got to move on to the next topic. That was just amazing there. Let's talk about the minor leagues. And first and foremost, the AAA Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp sometimes have been the team to watch. Not even the Marlins, the Shrimp. The team is just very fun to watch. Charles LeBlanc, Max Meyer. You said Hoeing, right?
JJ Bleday.
JJ Bleday. Right. And, I would like to give you a take on, JJ Bleday. You said you wanted to kind of talk about him for a bit.
I have to look up his baseball savant first before I talk, my talk.
Yeah. Bleday has started to really bring his numbers a little up, right? Personally, I'm a bit higher on Clayton Burdick. I really like the guy. I think despite his numbers being a little low as well, I don't know. I just really see more of a hit tool from him than I do from Bleday. I don't know too much of the defense. I feel like they're pretty much on par. But yeah, what's your take on JJ?
So JJ Bleday is currently the number 6 prospect in the MLB pipeline. At the time, it looked like a good pick, man. I mean, this is a pod I want to do definitely one day on Unfiltered. Looking back at these drafts, looking at who went after, You look at the first name that went after him, Riley Green.
Mm-hmm.
He would be a major leaguer right now.
He would.
CJ Abrams. He's a major leaguer right now.
He's in the major league right now. Yeah.
Nick Lodolo. I know it's a pitcher, but Nick Lodolo, he's a major leaguer. Miami could have had one of those guys, and I think they'd be way better off with them than a JJ Bleday. Yeah, I think at the time Miami was drafting college guys. I think they'd gone Connor Scott prior in high school, but I think they went college this time around in the draft. They went JJ Bleday. At the time, looked good. Arizona Fall League, he looked good. But, you start getting hyped up about it and hyped. That Fall League pitching is really not the best. It is pretty bad.
Many fastballs, little to no off speeds. And one of the biggest kryptonites to JJ Bleday that we've noticed is chasing the off speed.
Yeah, not only that, his defense is actually okay. He could play all 3, center, left, right. So at this point, now he's on a tear. The guy's batting 226, 374, 443, 817, 6 homers, 16 RBIs. He's batting better than Avisail Garcia, Jorge Soler. Who else is on that team? Jesus Sanchez, I think he's batting better than at the moment. Not batting better. Brian De La Cruz actually has the second highest batting average on the team right now, by the way. Fun fact. But that's for Noah. Moving on. JJ Bleday is probably going to be the next one to get the call-up, out of the outfield. There's Brian Miller's in DIL. And I hate to say it, but if there's one guy that they're going to call up from the minor leagues, it's JJ Bleday.
Right, it's their draft guy.
Not only that, because they also did draft Peyton Burdick. They did draft Burdick, but I just don't know. Burdick has not been on the tear this season that he was on last season.
I agree.
He hasn't been there this season. 221, 352, 452, 804, 5 homers, 13 RBIs. He actually has 5 stolen bases, 24 runs in 125 plate appearances, and 23 hits. He's been okay. That's the thing. But then I want to go down to Double A, and you know who I'm going to go with first? The man who's the son of Mr. Marlin, Jeff Conine. And then you have his son, Griffin Conine. This guy's been on a tear. 283, 351, 495, 846, 5 homers, 19 RBIs, 28 hits, 8 runs in 99 at bats, 111 plate appearances. This guy went from a okay season, but he hit bombs. So I'm just going to go back to his 2021 season where he batted 176, 243, 447, 690. That was with Pensacola. With Beloit, he was hitting 247, 382, 587, 969. He's been pretty damn good. And I was able to talk to him during media day, and spring training was a big time for him. He was able to make those adjustments. I think he had a spring training appearance. He hit a home run. So, he was talking about how he was getting advice from those guys and how the switches that he made to a swing, how the adjustments went for him. This is a guy who definitely once you call it Blade or Burdick. He's definitely the next guy in line. But then we have your guy, who you said it would be a DH soon, Gerard Encarnacion.
Yeah.
And he hit a home run tonight, funny enough. He just hit one just a bit ago. So, you look at his stats, when I'm going to pull up right now. That's another guy who you definitely need to keep an eye on. I've said this, Isaac has said this, that Gerard's probably going to be a DH on another team. But this guy's on a tear. 327, 408, 529, 937, 6 home runs, 34 hits, 13 RBIs. He actually has 4 stolen bases in 120 plate appearances. This guy's such a good player, man. This season, he had injury issues last season. 2019, I thought he definitely had a chance to make that major league squad. He was on a tear in spring training. He is so good, man. This is a guy who is just dominating both lefties and righties, hitting over 250 on both, 280 against the lefties, 342 against the righties. So very interesting there, but those are some of the guys I think you should keep an eye out in the outfields. There's also Victor Mesa Jr., not Victor. Victor Mesa Jr. is actually really good when you look at it. I actually have high hopes for him. I think he'll be a very nice center fielder in the major league team in a couple of years. Definitely should get the call up at some point. So hopefully he does, because I'll pull up his stats now. He's junior. That's a good one. So
He's a good one.
He's hitting under 250, but it's 240, 282, 340, 622, 1 homer, 12 RBIs, 1 stolen base, 24 hits, and he's a center fielder. He's the only center fielder, by the way, in the natural center fielder in the Marlins minor league system at the moment.
Wow.
So that says a lot. And obviously, I think there's a couple other ones, but the big name one was him. There was also Cam Meisner, who got dealt. He's been okay in, I think, Double-A. He's with Double-A Tampa Bay. I don't know the team's name right now. But
not Durham. It's
Durham. It's Durham.
Is it, or is it Mississippi?
I think it's
no,
Durham.
Not Mississippi. It's Montgomery. The Montgomery Biscuits.
Yeah. So Victor Mesa is another good name, but he's not getting called up in another 2 to 3 years, I want to say. He's in high A right now. He's with Beloit. That team's not good. But, then the other names, obviously, Lorenzo Quintana, I know you may want to get into. Who else? Brian LeBlanc. Miller would have gotten the call-up if it wasn't for his IL stint currently right now. Ian Lewis now. McIntosh, yeah. Double-A. McIntosh is there. George Soriano, Yuri Perez. Miami's minor league system is very good, but I've told you this. I think they need to rebuild it a little bit. Or retool.
Absolutely.
I'll say retool. In terms of outfield prospects. Miami went from one of the most rich outfield prospects in the league, in all of Major League Baseball farm system.
To a depleted one.
To one of the more depleted ones in the league, JJ Bleday really hasn't worked out. Burdick is meh. Like you at the time last season, you would look at these prospects, they're going off. And Bleday and Burdick actually made the jump from high A all the way to AAA. And that's not easy to do in one season. Deservedly one minor league player of the year. But you look at that, and Miami just has a lot of options, but you have to do some retooling. We've spoken about some guys that they could bring on, but yeah, Miami's minor league system, although it's very good, I don't think it's a top 5 anymore.
Yeah,
and after this, I think it's top 7, definitely the top 10. They're not top 5 though. I like Seattle's farm system a lot more. I like Arizona's is very nice when you look at it. Detroit's is very nice. Technically, Riley Green is still a prospect, so Cincinnati's is very good. I like De La Cruz. I think you still have Nick Lodolo there. Hunter Green, I'm not sure. Hunter Green could have been another possible Marlin, by the way.
There was another one.
So yeah.
We talked about how depleted the outfield is. I think it's fair to say that we might now be one of the more.
Oh, look at this! Victor Mesa has set a new single game career high tonight with 4 RBIs.
What?
Wow. 4 RBIs. What a game for Victor Mesa Jr. Victor. The one I did not want to mention. He's the other natural center fielder, by the way, in the org, but he's probably one of the worst players to ever enter the minor league system. Like statistically, he's a very nice guy. He seems like a nice guy, Cuban guy. I always support him, but yeah.
So what I was saying was, the infield. I think it's fair to say that the infield is much more. It has a lot more depth and a lot more options.
Yeah, you look at it. They went from one of the more depleted to one of the richer teams with the infield.
Yeah,
now you have Kirill Watson, Jose Salas, Ian Lewis, Cody Morissette, LeBlanc. If you want to go up to that point, they do have a lot. in the infield, and I'm definitely missing a couple names. Oh, Hayden Cantrell. That's another one who they've
Mhm.
acquired. That guy's been on a tear ever
From
since
the
joining
Alex
Pensacola.
Jackson trade, believe it or not.
Alex Jackson trade, believe it or not. So
Look,
yeah,
that trade with the Alex Jackson trade. The cool part is that we actually got return for it. Like,
not only for him, we got it for Alfaro, and we got it
yeah,
for. We're still waiting on the player to be named for later for Lewis Head. For Alfaro, it turned out to be cash considerations, I think, on the return side. And then we're still waiting for the player to be named later for Isan Diaz, who they actually got a player to be named later or cash considerations. So they're in between there.
something to note on Khalil is that his numbers have been a little bit down lately. He's kind of been
Lately.
slumping. But yeah, Lorenzo Quintana you mentioned, right?
That's your guy.
Backup option for the Marlins if they choose to call him up to the major league roster. And many people have made the perfect, point. He doesn't have a good glove, right? He
Not at
can't
all.
call games. But the beauty of this Marlins team that we've noticed since opening day is the fact that they could work their way around all of these injuries, right? They have Eric Gonzalez coming in, but in a healthy Marlins world, right? You got Birdie and Anderson on here. Let's say Anderson is gone. You could play either Wendell, you could play Birdie. By the way, Birdie has been killing it. Many
He's
people
been
haven't
killing it.
noticed that.
There's and he went on the COVID IL. There's no news on him yet. Weird enough, because BA we've been getting at least every other day news about
Yeah.
him, and this is coming from the media end. And I would say, Craig Mish would beat me to it. Jordan McPherson obviously will beat me to it. Christine, all those guys. They haven't posted anything about Birdie. We have no idea what's happening to Birdie. And I wish I knew, because I would definitely say it on here if I was allowed to, but. There's nothing on Birdie, man. BA, yep, he's coming back on Friday. That's what it looks like. But Birdie, we have nothing. You know what? When I go to the on Saturday, I may ask.
Yeah. No, I was also looking at, when you were talking about Griffin, right? I love the guy. The fact that he's
He's awesome. He's
Griffin's
awesome.
son. I mean,
You notice from the beginning on the media day until now, his attitude has completely changed.
oh
And
yeah,
yes, he seemed excited, but he didn't seem, I'm Griffin Conan, I'm hitting fucking 260 in the minor leagues right now. Not 260, 283 in the minor leagues, and I'm just hitting bombs. You're gonna have to cut out that word, but
you're good.
but his attitude has changed, and I love that. A player's attitude has changed. You love to see it. BA always looked down. He's looking a lot better now, especially with the haircut. Miggy Rose now looking a little bit down. So it's, you also have to think, and I know we're getting to a completely different side of baseball, but mental health is a big thing in baseball.
Oh yeah.
These guys are players. These guys are people. These guys are human
They're not
beings.
machines. They're not machines.
They're not machines. They're not superstars. Yeah, they're not more famous. They're famous. Yeah, fuck. Never mind. I was gonna say, they're just like us. They're normal people. They live the same lives as us. They also have families. So you really can't be destroying these guys, especially when it comes to Eliezer. I know we love to destroy him and say how Max Meyer should be, but he knows that. He knows Max Meyer is literally rubbing on his feet are rubbing his heels. He knows that, you would say it's at the tip of his toes or whatever, but Max Meyer is literally on this guy about any minute now. Any minute, you're going to get the news that Max Meyer is going to be a major leaguer and Eliezer is either getting traded or sent down to AAA. And that's an issue.
And listen, Kevin, like you said, right? They could be amazing people. They could have the best attitude.
And this is something
in the world.
else I wasn't planned on the pod. And
Yeah.
now we're in, and I love this.
Yeah, this has been amazing. Like something else that that we have to take into account is that baseball is a business at the end of the day. You want to play your best of the best. You want to throw out the guys who are going to bring you wins. And with what I was going to say with Griffin Conine previously was that many people were trashing on him in 2021 because of his K rate. I'm pretty sure he's kind of brought it down a bit this year. I'm not sure. You might want to check on that one.
I'm gonna try to find out. I'm still learning how to use Savant, but I think Griffin Conan's K rate has definitely gone down a good chunk.
But I really love how he's really matured into like the man he's going to be when he eventually gets the call, right? He's not just, oh, I'm Jeff's son, right? I'm Griffin Conine. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and he's done so in AA. Like, you just love to see this type of stuff. And Joao Encarnacion, yes, I do see him like as a DH option. Why do I say that? I don't know. He just reminds me of a David Ortiz kind of guy. He loves to send the ball out of the yard, and he's a lefty. Believe is he? I think he's a
Let me
lefty.
check. I think he is.
Gerard just has that body muscle, like that guy who's gonna drive in, like that Nelson Cruz type of guy. That David Ortiz.
He's
He
a
knows-
righty. He's a righty.
Oh, he's a righty. Wow. Yeah.
And Miami needs lefties, and I think Conan himself is a lefty too.
Conine, I think, is a lefty. Yes, which is cool because I think his father was a righty.
So he bats with his left and throws with his right.
Oh.
There's a lot of guys that are like that, believe it or not, on
Mhm.
on the actual Marlins Major League roster. So
But it's beautiful, really, that these guys who we were once kind of concerned-ish about are really starting to mature themselves. They're really starting to develop. They're really starting to. So maybe Miami's hitting development isn't all too bad as we thought it was. Maybe it is.
better. It's gotten better.
It's kind of better, but Griffin Coyne, I'm rooting for him.
Yep.
To the third power. Honestly, like that guy deserves the best.
He'll be in AAA at some point this season. I'll bet on it.
I think around September when the call-ups come up. I don't know if they're doing September call-ups. Are they going to
They
put?
should be. They should be. It's a 162 game season. Yeah.
Meyer would be up, I assume. Blade, you said, will be up. So,
Mine would be up September next year. Come on.
but yeah, the minor league sector of this episode was just amazing. We talked about Stallings. Dylan Floro came back from the IL. He had a couple rehab appearances with the Marlins in a couple days ago. He returned last night in that very disgusting game that many of us probably turned off the TV by the 6th.
We actually we're loyal fans. We stayed on until the 8th.
We did, and as a matter of fact, that's when Floro came out to pitch, and he didn't look like Dylan Floro. He was a bit shaky. Looking back at what he did. Again,
I'm looking at the stats now. That's pretty bad. Just for reference, that's a 27.00 ERA.
Yikes. Yeah,
he did only face like a couple guys,
but he was knocked around, right?
Yeah, 4 hits, 3 runs, all 3 were earned, 1 walk, and 1 inning of work. So, this is something Eli Sussman, my boss, my great friend, has said. His velo has been down.
Yeah.
His velo has been down, which is not good. So
alarming and concerning. And the fact that a lot of people have been saying, "Hey,
and I'll say this very quickly: he was phenomenal in 2021. You look at his percentile rankings, all red, only 2 blue and 3 blue, 4 blue. I'm sorry, the rest is red.
And it's not blue to like the last degree; it's like light blue, right?
It's light blue, yeah.
Yeah. So he was really good because he was slapped onto the closer role a little bit later into the season.
15 saves, yeah.
Yeah, that's
funny enough. Yeah, and I always compare him to Yimi, that 2021 Yimi Garcia. Yimi also had 15 saves. He did not make another save appearance after he left Miami and was traded to Houston.
wow.
Did not make another save until then. He's probably made some now, but Toronto's a really good team, so I don't think they even have a closer. But that's another case of Dylan Floro was a pretty damn good closer in the major leagues. He got it done. They let Bender do it a little bit. He got knocked around, so they had to sit him out. You put back Dylan Floro. And I know people say that Dylan Floro is not a closer. He shouldn't be the closer. I agree. Right now, he shouldn't. But I think they should work him up a little bit more to get to that closer spot. Because if Miami doesn't bring anyone now, and they're not going to do it, they're not going to bring a closer right now. They're not going to make a big splash, get for a Kenley Jansen-esque closer or Craig Kimbrell-esque closer. And, They won't do that. So Floro is definitely the number 1 option right now.
But obviously with Floro, coming back from the IL stint, you kind of got to give him a shot to kind of balance it back and see what he could do a couple stretches down the way. But another guy I wanted to give a shout out to, actually 2 guys I wanted to give a shout out to is Anthony Bass, number 1. Anthony Bass has been amazing. The amount of trash this guy received since that blown save in New York. Yes, it was a heartbreaker. Yes, it sucked losing that game. And yes, we all know how it ended. But Anthony Bass, man, we need to talk about this guy. This guy has been amazing. This guy has been shut down, obviously not in the 9th. and I hope they don't slap him there. But Anthony Bass has really shown like the Anthony Bass the Marlins paid money for. This is the guy that has really pretty dotted the zone. Like he's really examined that part of the zone. There was a video I posted on my All Marlins Instagram story the other day. It shows him striking out Machado, just dotting a beautiful pitch on the line and getting him to strike out. It was beautiful. Anthony Bass, man, what a guy. And the other guy I wanted to mention on that, many people honestly forget that he's on this bullpen, is the righty Cody Poteet. Cody Poteet is rocking with a .55 ERA. I believe he threw
Amazing,
4 to 5.
amazing game last night. By the way,
Yeah, 4 to 5 shutdown innings. I mean, is anybody gonna stop Cody Poteet? And another thing, because we talked about starters, the whole Eliezer Max Meyer situation. We're not gonna give Poteet at least a chance, maybe a game, see what he could do on the starting spot.
no. As much as I want to, and I would love it, he's a reliever right now, and that's where he's best been.
Oh yeah,
And let's be honest, there's no other long reliever that they have. It's Poteet and Lewis Head. They tried him yesterday. He didn't do it.
right.
He couldn't do it. He gave up like 4 runs. So no, and yes, Anthony Bass. And I made a tweet about this. I think it was the Padres series, and you said this, and you saw it. You liked it. It got some love. That Anthony Bass went from one of the worst relievers on the Marlins, and maybe one of the worst relievers on the Marlins, maybe the worst in 2021, to one of the best relievers in baseball in 2022. And Joe Fasaro said this, very interesting. Relievers are unpredictable. I think that's fair. Craig Kimbrell had an amazing season with who was it? With the Red Sox. He goes to Chicago and he's okay. No, he was actually pretty good in Chicago. And then he goes to where is it? Where is he now? He goes to the White Sox.
Yeah.
Can't perform. He's now with
Dodgers.
He's with the Dodgers now. He's been okay. I think he's been
okay. Yeah.
So yeah, relievers are unpredictable. And I know he said a closer, but Steven O'Kurt, he was okay last season. He wasn't the best. He's really good this year. Just another example.
Yeah. Another thing to point out for Poteet, a .98 WHIP, right? Like this is a guy who's just come out there, done his job, and he's done it effectively. The thing with relievers is that there's this word that Eli uses a lot, and I agree with it. They're very volatile, right? These are guys who you're not going to expect 10 years of them in such a progression like they did. I mean, a perfect example is Anthony Bender last year. Anthony Bender, maybe it was the sticky stuff, right? A lot of people have mentioned that, but Anthony Bender,
it definitely was.
Yeah, this year the velo is there. The break, I would say, is what kind of took him a bit down. And I think the changeup hasn't really been his type of.
The changeup is actually what's been hurting him the most. Funny enough.
Yeah,
that was his best pitch last year. It's been his worst one this year.
And he throws that sinker too. It's very nasty. We'll see. Hopefully Bender kind of brings it back. Marlins have a big weekend series coming up. 1997 weekend series. They have a bunch of guests. I'm going to put them on the screen. Bunch of guests celebrating their 25th anniversary since they won the 97 World Series against the Cleveland Indians. Kevin, you're going to be in attendance.
I will.
What do you have in store for that series?
So I know you put them on the screen, and as they're on their screen, I could read the people that will be there, the legends that will be there. Jim Leland, the manager. How old is he? That's a question. He's like 90 something, right?
Jim Leland. Let me check that up for you.
He has to be extremely, old, up there in age.
Believe it or not, Jim Leland is only 77 years old.
How old was he when he was managing the team?
So Jim Leland. Wow, I actually didn't know that.
I'm in shock. So Jack McKeon's older than him.
Jack McKeon is in his 90s, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Jim Leland
better come back and manage the Marlins.
Wow, when he managed the team, he was 53 years old.
So it's been he looked a lot older than 53.
He did.
That's why. And no, the guy's aged perfectly then, but
he has.
But yeah, that guy's a legend. I definitely want to talk to him. Kurt Abbott, Antonio Alfonseca is going to be there. Alex Argas, John Cangelosi.
John Cangelosi, yeah.
Cangelosi. Craig Counsell, the manager of the Brewers.
Manager of the
will be
Brewers,
there.
by the way. Yep.
Rich Donnelly, Jim Eisenrich, Alex Fernandez, Cliff Floyd, Livan Hernandez, World Series MVP that season, Charles Johnson, the first ever pick in Miami Marlins history, Edgar Renteria, the man who made the RBI to win it all, and Gary Sheffield, one of the best players of all time on the Marlins. So, you look at that. Those are the guys who are going to be there. I have some questions set up for them. I'll be there as media. That's the only time I'll be there able to go. But, and definitely going to want to talk to Jesus Luzardo, who was born that year, but Miami guy. Got to probably see some of these guys play. And then Pablo, since he'll make the start the day before he made that start. So definitely want to get to talk to Pablo about those guys and all that. But there'll be an on-field ceremony giving out the world. There'll be a ceremony on the field. There'll be a selfie station with the guys. They're also giving out replica rings. The picture will be up. The picture's been everywhere. There's even a promo video, which you could even play of Antonio Fonseca wearing the ring. That was a super cool promo video. It's on Twitter.
It really was.
But first 8,000 fans will get that ring. Hopefully I get one. I'll get a picture of it. I think I will.
With the 97 World Series, obviously we don't have Mr. Marlin in attendance. We don't have Al Leiter. We don't have Kevin Brown there. Obviously, the guys are busy. Conine has that. He's a coach for FIU. But you love this stuff, right? Jeter leaves. You're bringing back your guys. And I don't want to throw shade at Jeter, right? But this is kind of showing me that he kind of want to alienate a bit of that history that the Marlins fans love to cherish, right? Marlins fans hold these memories super fond because these are the two times the Marlins actually rose from the grave that they've been in for the past 10 years. And it's beautiful. They're going all out. The only thing I will say, my only critique is that they're not wearing the beautiful field jerseys.
I know where this is going.
But hey, they're going to be wearing that patch. That logo, by the way, is beautiful. I'm gonna slap it right there in front of you guys.
Are you mad about the jerseys? No jerseys?
Oh, man, that has me a bit disappointed. We're not wearing the sleeves. That would have been so beautiful.
That's the jersey they wore when they won?
They were wearing, yes, the black ones. It's the black sleeve with the teal lettering.
That one's awesome. Those jerseys are fire. I had to get the Miggy Cabrera one. Not that one, but it was the 03 one.
I really do feel like they kind of fumbled the bag on that sense, but who cares, man? They're going
They should wear the Sugar Kings that day. Oh
yeah, that would be a nice one as well.
They haven't worn them. They're supposed to wear them every Saturday. Now that was the TikTok when they first made the TikTok. Saturdays. Yeah. That's when they're wearing them.
Man, it's just a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend for the fans, right?
That's gonna be a fun weekend. I will say that stadium is gonna be packed, especially the day of the World Series rings. Saturday. People want free stuff. And we could do a prediction on this. This is actually a fun prediction. Attendance for each of those games.
Ooh.
So Friday, I'll go 10K.
Friday, well,
Pablo versus Corbin Burns. 15, bumping it up. And it's a Friday night. People are gonna want to go.
Here's what I'm going to account. Friday. It's a weekday. Guys are getting back from work. The Marlins haven't been playing to their level. I'm gonna go 13K to start it off.
All right. So for Saturday. So funny enough, UN night got 29,000.
That's crazy.
Opening day got 31. I'm gonna go 30,000 for.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm gonna go. UM night got how many?
I went 30,000. Oh, UM got 29.
29,000. I'm actually gonna throw this one out there. 28.5. 28.5K.
I respect it. And then Sunday I'll go 8,000.
Sunday day games aren't.
And it's Eliezer.
But
if it's Max Meyer's start, which it won't be, but if it were to be, I would have gone 15K.
It would have ticked up. Yep.
But I'll go 10K. Or 9.5.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, we went to that Seattle series. There was a game that packed up. You were there in the Sunday game.
Yeah, it was 16 point something. It was the Logan Gilbert versus Sandy Alcantara game.
Sandy, yeah. I'm gonna
They will
go
tonight, but
12K for that Sunday game. 12K.
that's
If the
fair.
Marlins kind of bring that win on Saturday or Friday, fans are gonna be, pretty happy with the
I
whole.
won't share my prediction until Eli shares it on the live stream, but
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll let you know what it is after the recording.
With the what was I gonna say? With the Brewers series, right? Tough pitching. That team looks legit.
I'm actually excited we're talking about this. I can't do this on stream. You know, it won't be on, but so
Yeah.
I'm glad we're doing this now.
That's a legit team right there. That team is not scared of anyone. Like the
Christian
Brewers.
Yelich, Christian Yelich just got the cycle.
Yeah, former Marlin. He was close a couple times as a fish too, if I remember. Wow. That Brewers team. And fun fact about that Brewers team, I personally believe that's the closest team you could really formulate a comparison that is just as accurate as the Marlins. Solid pitching, the hitting tool, it's there, right? It's on and off, but those two teams are just teams that you could actually compare, and they're like, hey, they're pretty similar. I think the Marlins will put up a fight that series. I do think so.
Bro, the Brewers are good.
They are.
They're really good. And I know they lost to Cincinnati. I think they lost the series to Cincinnati.
They did.
So they're coming off a very disappointing series. They're going to
They're
be a
coming
little
for
down.
revenge.
They're coming for revenge, but Miami is on a nice little. They got that win. They got a nice win. They know what it looks like to win a baseball game, playing a perfect all-around baseball game when all parts of the team are clicking. Now they know how that feels. They did that in Philly. They did that in the 2 games against Seattle. They could do it again in Milwaukee. I'm not going to tell you the prediction, but I'm going to favor Miami a little bit here. You know me. I'm the optimist, and usually when I am, I'm correct. I predicted that Seattle series perfectly.
Yeah. We said if they won that team, they're going to be legit.
You said that. I followed it along after, to be honest. But anyways, yeah. See, that's a good team. Corbin Burns. Who's it? Second game. I'm going to that game. You see, I should know this. I think it's Brandon Woodruff.
Brandon Woodruff. Oh man, that rotation is insane, man. And even the 3, 4, 5 guys.
That rotation is better than Miami's. I just want to let you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even that Ashby guy.
They got off to a really bad. Yeah. So it's Corbin Burns. Oh, it's some random. He's actually been really good. I shouldn't.
Ashby.
Eric Lauer on Saturday, and then the Sunday game. That may be Brandon Woodruff. Sunday is Brandon Woodruff against Eliezer Hernandez.
Wow.
And Woodruff actually has a very high ERA, 5.97. So he's kind of been Eliezer status this season when it comes to ERA. Eliezer has a 6.37. He has a 5.97. And just for reference, Eliezer is one of the highest ERA guys in the whole league, not just National League, all MLB.
Man, that's gonna be a fun series. If you guys haven't gotten your tickets, go ahead.
Go do it. I'm telling you, this is a series to watch. It's gonna be fun. This could be a team. If Miami ever does if they make the playoffs, that could be a team that they could face. Saying.
And really,
especially since they're gonna win the division. Milwaukee's winning that division by far. St. Louis can put up a fight, but Miami goes into the wild card and they're playing a team. It'll be probably Milwaukee. I know the Dodgers are up there. I know the Braves and the Mets are up there, but I think we'll be that's another good topic. Miami and Atlanta, they're the same record. They're fighting for second. That'd be an interesting one too, but Miami will probably get a wild card if they make the playoffs. I can't believe I'm saying that, but they'll play Milwaukee, LA, New York. Those are the teams. So it's a good taste to get with those guys right now. In Miami, thankfully enough, faces LA towards the end of the season when this team is past deadline, looking completely fresh. If they're buyers, if they buy, which luckily they've done the past couple of years, it's felt pretty good. But yeah, Miami in a playoff series against those teams could be scary, especially with that pitching.
Yeah, and who knows if the Marlins.
And we're talking playoffs, which is very fun.
Yeah, I mean, if the Marlins surprise to the point where they're going to be buying and they're going to be all in and aggressive, as they've stated that they are, I'm eyeing that Xander Bogaerts guy. Xander Bogaerts in this infield would be insane. Like, imagine that guy in our combining forces, Aruba and Bahamas, Jazz and Xander. That would be amazing. You get yourself a star and everything. But yeah, to summarize, this Marlins team isn't bad. We said this from the beginning, and we're gonna wrap it up right there. This Marlins team is not bad at all. We trashed on it preseason. We were trashing on it. We had a pod, and we were trashing about it. Some cool stuff coming up on the All Marlins kind of system is that I am implementing a website. Yeah, can you believe it? I am throwing a website out there. I'm gonna be throwing out topics, articles. Gonna be having guys also throwing their takes and stuff. A couple friends of mine are gonna be hopping on there. I've talked to them. It's currently work in progress. Once it's out, I'll throw it out there for everybody. Other than that, hey, stay tuned. Lots of content. I've been working on a big project on my Instagram on All Marlins. Go ahead and follow that. All the links are in description. Same for Kevin's. And man, follow me on Marlins John. Follow Kevin Barral. This has been one hell of a podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next one.